Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Greg Sharp. I'm the founder and owner of Greg Sharp Real Estate, and I've been a real estate investor and a developer for over 20 years, broker as well. And joining me tonight is Brandon J. LoCascio. We've worked together over the years from time to time, and he's going to be talking about some of the things that he's done in real estate development and investing. Brandon, how about if you just kind of start off and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Greg, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for having me tonight, by the way. And as you told me before the show started, I'm number one. So I think it was fitting because I've never been interviewed on a webinar or a podcast. And when I found out that I was your number one and you're like my number one, it was like, hey, it couldn't be more of a nice situation. So I appreciate that.
You're very welcome.
My longtime friend, Greg Sharp. So yeah, a little bit about me. I've been in real estate for 15 years. As you know, pretty much spent my 20s, I'm 33 now, spent my 20s getting my ass kicked and getting some small successes from different angles in the real estate business. I've been a loan officer. So in 2005, I started as a LO, helping people refinance and do mortgages. That was kind of
what a time, huh?
What everybody did back then, by the way. You know, you've seen the movie Boiler Room. It was like, couldn't have been more of our deal. After that, when all the foreclosures and the bank-owned properties started popping up in 2007, 8, 9, I got my real estate license, worked out in the Inland Empire, and that's where I'm originally from. And about, 2010, I moved to Newport Beach, started selling luxury real estate, doing leases, doing commercial. At some point, about 2.5, 3 years later after that, I started a house flipping business. So me and a couple of other partners, which we're going to talk about that, went out and started buying property all over LA County and renovating them. And then after that, I was back in real estate brokerage. And a few years ago, started a construction company with my now partner, Ivano Stamania, called Inland Builders. And now we are developing and building property.
That's excellent. So you're 33, you've been in real estate for 15 years.
Yep.
How did you start so young at age 18?
It was almost accidental. It probably was because I came from a real estate family. So I've got a father who is in real estate, a mother who's in real estate, 2 uncles in real estate, a grandma. I mean, pretty much you can't throw anything in my family tree without hitting a realtor or somebody that does something in real estate. But it wasn't even really, it's funny because even though I grew up in a real estate family, I was 18, had just graduated high school, and I was working at the time at a car wash. I was actually changing oil, and it was a horrible job, but I did it and I was doing it and not really sure what else was going on for the summer kind of thing. And a buddy of mine that worked there with me came in one day, and he says, his name was Juan, and he says, my brother works at this mortgage company and he wants me to come interview. You should come with me. And I looked at him and I said, what the hell's a mortgage? I don't even know what that is. And he says, well, don't worry about it. Just come in and let's go check it out. So it was kind of interesting because it was almost accidental, because next thing I know, I'm working at the mortgage company. I'm in suits every day. I'm dialing for dollars, learning how to talk to clients, and kind of the rest is history from there.
That's fantastic. So from the car wash and dialing for dollars, let's step to the current time. You have a high-rise project in Koreatown that you're building.
Yep.
That's not too many people get to do that in their entire career. Tell me about that one. How's that going? Where are you at?
Yeah. So another one, my hat's off to my partner. I have to give him the full credit for this because my partner, just to step back for a second, my partner's been in building for 40 years, and he's built over 6,000 units. I mean, I would say he was building when I was in diapers, well before I was even in existence. So he, since like the late 70s, he was laying concrete and framing and whatnot. So when we started this company, we were, kind of trying to figure out what direction we were going to go. And frankly, our plan was kind of to buy more of our own property and build for ourselves, which, maybe is still 10, 15% of what we do right now. But coincidentally, what had happened was he got a call from somebody that was looking to build this high-rise in Koreatown. And so when we first got involved with talking to these guys, we never really actually thought that they were serious, or if they were serious, that they were serious about working with us, because, we had just started the company. Even though he had been building forever, we didn't really have a staff. We weren't really sharpened to the degree of just being able to go out and say, oh yeah, let's sign a $32 million contract and build a 10-story building, right? But after interviewing for about a year, painstakingly, still didn't know if we were going to get it. But after a whole year of interviewing with these guys, and for sure because of my partner's resume, and because, maybe they liked me and thought that we could build the team, and et cetera, hopefully. But we got the deal. And so, and when we signed the deal, I have to tell you, when we signed the deal, we still didn't even know if it was going to come together, because, to give you an idea, like maybe we had met them in the beginning of 2017, signed the deal, I think in like May 2018, and it still took them another like 6 or 7 months to get their construction loan. The whole time we're thinking, is this a joke? They signed a contract months ago. Maybe it's not ever going to build. And one day we get the call, the loan is funded, go ahead and break ground and get going. And then it was kind of like, oh crap, now it's time to really like make our deals with the subcontractors and start building the building, right?
Yeah, but you actually, you had to dig down pretty far. I remember visiting the site. It's a big hole in the ground, but what's it look like now? What were some of the challenges you had to overcome with that? And how did you get past them? Well,
the biggest one is what you just said, the hole. Because what happens is when someone wants to build a high-rise building, let's say in LA, you can't, LA is so constricted in terms of space. There's nowhere to park, for example, right? So you build the building, right. Pretty much most of the lot is the building. So you have to park either underground, right? You have to make an underground parking garage, or you got to make like an above ground parking garage. But if you do an above ground parking garage, it eats into the space, right? For lobby or buildable units, right. Because you can only go so high in your building. So inherently you end up going underground. Well, in this building, it was way back when it was probably going to be 3 or 4 stories, but for whatever reason, they had knocked it down to only 2 stories below ground. But the way that works, it's still about 30, let's say 30-ish feet. So when we first went to get going and we hired, we're general contractors. So we bring in specialty subs. So that means our job is to manage the whole process, but we'll hire a framing company. We'll hire a really good concrete team. We'll hire a roofer, right? And we kind of choreograph the whole thing.
Right.
When we went to hire our, grading contractor to go down and start doing this hole, we, all we had to go off of was this soils report, right? Where way back when they had dug holes at different parts of the lot to see how high the water table was. Because, if you know anything about ground, which I know you do, under the ground, there's water. And so it depends. Is water going to be at 10 feet? Is it going to be at 100 feet? If water's way down there and you're not going to hit it, you don't have a problem. So what had happened was the soils report was like 4 years old, and it said that the water was, let's just say 35 feet. I forget what the number is, but it said that we weren't going to hit it if we were going down 30 or 28 feet, whatever we were doing. Well, because we started in the beginning of 2019, it had been a heavy rain season and the water table rose. I mean, because that'll happen. If it doesn't, groundwater rises because it soaks in the rain. It'll stay high for 6, 7 months or 3 months or whatever the case may be. And so now we go to dig our hole, and the water is being found at 15, 20, 19, 18, different parts of the site. But basically, we're underwater. Let's just put it that way. We got to go down 30 feet almost, and we're swimming in water. So as you can imagine, having a giant hole that you're supposed to, number one, take out all the dirt. Number two, start putting concrete, footings, foundation, pipes. You can't really work in that environment. And so it becomes very costly and, frankly, slows you down completely. So that was the biggest challenge so far on this job. And hopefully will be the only large challenge to that magnitude. But it was a bear getting through that.
Now, it was an impressive hole. I got to go there one time, and being kind of a kid, you let me throw a rock into the muddy water down below.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty fun, actually.
So is that site still going on? What do you expect to complete that job?
Yeah, so we lost time because of what I just mentioned. We would have been done later this year. Right now, we're slated to be done closer to June or July of 2021.
That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. The thing about that is we've got a good concrete man, so he's making up, a lot of progress right now. framing, you can build even for a large building. This building is 122,000 square feet. So it's big. I mean, each floor is maybe 25,000-ish square feet, but you can frame an entire floor in 3.5, 4 weeks. So the point is once we get out of the concrete, we'll throw 30 guys out there all day long and they'll be framing, and hopefully that's where we'll make up some of our schedule. Very
good. So now, a year from now, what's the market going to be like? I mean, you've seen the ups and downs. Tell me about what your markets are looking like from the past experience and where you think it's going now.
Well, I mean, it's really anybody's guess, right? I mean, who the hell knew anything about coronavirus, COVID? I mean,
that's a black swan event.
Well, because when you do financing in real estate, right, there's something called force majeure, and it's basically where if there's an act of God or something out of your control, right, certain things may come into play where you're not penalized or there was something unanticipated. And now I'm sure there's going to be a pandemic clause in all these real estate contracts and financing agreements because literally I don't think anybody would have ever expected this to happen in our lifetime. I mean, it's just the way it hit everything.
Never.
But yeah, I mean, I think, look, what do I know? Who knows? But I talk to a lot of really successful people, a lot of our clients that are building. I talk to a lot of bankers. Everybody's pretty optimistic because even though there's been the chaos with the COVID situation, even though we've had, other things going on, even though we're in an election year, the reality is that the fundamentals are still pretty good. You don't have the toxic loans like you had in the last, height of the last recession, or before the last recession started. Unemployment, yeah, it's pretty bad right now, but we're hoping people go back to work after this. And believe it or not, people are still buying houses. They're leasing apartments. I mean, my fiance sells new homes and she's busier than ever. My father's busy selling homes. Everybody I know is busy selling homes. I don't think there's any pullback right now. So we'll see. Yeah. Next year, it's anybody's guess.
So are you hiring?
Well, we're always considering hiring. For you, yes. You can come over anytime. You could. The problem with you is I don't think I can afford you, but if you showed up, I would definitely try to get you over here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, exactly.
We worked together in the past, and it was pretty good.
Yes, it was. You're a good guy, man.
So, and that's kind of true for all real estate people. You're never not hiring. You're always looking for a good person that can help you get to the next square.
Yeah, I think some of the best people I've ever found or worked with or somehow twisted their arm into come do something with me, I was never expecting it. And that's true for even, I know we're going to touch on, maybe some of how I've gotten here, how I've been able to start a house flipping business, how I was able to have my own real estate brokerage, how I was able to now be a partner in a construction company. I have to tell you, really, if I had to sum it up, it was nothing other than I was crazy enough to ask. I was crazy enough to suggest or to, I was crazy enough to go to my partner Abano and say, let's start this company. I was crazy enough to go to my last partners and say, hey, we can do something really special here. I mean, sometimes you have to just think of, I don't know. I guess you just have to know when there's something good in your orbit, how you can just run with it.
And how do you determine a good person to work with? What characteristics do you normally look for?
Well, I mean, that's hard to say. I guess it depends on what it is that, their role would be. I mean, if you say like, what makes a good partner? For me, I've learned a good partner is somebody that is better than I am, knows more than I do, either in general or or about a certain subject. Like, for example, my current partner, Abano, this guy's the master when it comes to building. I mean, I didn't, what did I know before I met this guy? Now it's like almost comical for me to think about like how much I've learned even since just being around him. And it's just amazing. And yeah, I'd like to think he appreciates, and I know he does. It's nice that I've kind of come as, I'm like an older millennial, so I'm not really like, I don't even know if I'm considered young anymore, but I brought a little like youth to him, right? And technology and I run all of our accounting and our legal and help hire. And so for me, that was kind of what I was bringing to the table to him. But the fact is I wouldn't have developed the way I have in the last few years if I wasn't working with somebody or partnered with somebody like him that has just taught me like stuff I couldn't have learned anywhere else. I couldn't have learned this fast. I mean, so for me, that's kind of what I look for in a partner.
Excellent. So you mentioned about you started the house flipping business and this business, that business. Tell me a little bit about how you do start your businesses. Is it opportunistic? Somebody comes to you with an idea, or you go out and front the idea? Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, again, I don't know that I ever consciously set out to really start those businesses. For me, it was always, I saw a need, I saw an opportunity. You know, when I started my house flipping business, I was working as a realtor at Coldwell Banker selling luxury homes in Newport Beach. And one of my clients was relocating from San Francisco to Corona Del Mar. And I knew that he was coming to town to start flipping homes. But I knew what his shortfalls and his shortcomings were. And particularly it was contacts. I was in the marketplace. I could maneuver around SoCal. He didn't know anybody. And once again, I was maybe ballsy enough, for lack of a better term, to say, no, listen, I don't want to be your realtor. I'm not going to be your realtor. With all due respect, we're going to partner. I'm going to be your partner, and we're going to go out and we're going to do something really special here. And I think sometimes people are a little taken back when you can look them in the eye and say that.
Yeah, that can be kind of intimidating, can't it? Of all your businesses, what was the most successful and what made it successful?
You know, I think the one I'm in right now is the most successful, and hopefully will be the most successful. I think, but you know, I don't really, I guess, you know, like I said earlier, I don't really measure success, or I wouldn't measure success to this point anyway, like monetarily. In other words, for me, I think one of the advantages I have, I probably could have been farther ahead financially, although we're doing pretty well right now. But you know, I took the time during my 20s to fail. I took the time to get my ass kicked. I took the time to start different businesses, have some small successes, get a lot of experience, both working for other people and having my own businesses. But I became very well-rounded in finance and sales and leasing and investment and all these different things. And I think that, to me, that's why they were successful, because of what I learned from those moments in time that I was doing that.
Yeah. So you say you're successful now, and I can see the palm trees waving in the background.
Yeah.
Where are you physically located right now? Where's your office?
This is our new office in Beverly Hills, and I've never been here. And it's literally just a virtual office. It's a beautiful office, by the way, but it costs us almost nothing. And it's a great mailing address. And I don't mind admitting that out loud. Like, it doesn't cost us anything. But it's really cool because I can come do stuff like this. I can meet clients. I can meet, you know, whoever here. We have two other offices, one near our primary job site in Koreatown, and we have an office in Santa Ana. So we do have physical offices that we're typically working out of, but this is kind of the nice, pretty one. And after a couple months of having it, I'm actually happy that I got a chance to come see it.
Excellent. Excellent. So you did house flipping. How has that been for you? Is it a good time to flip houses now, or why aren't you flipping houses now?
Well, I don't know. I'm a little out of touch probably with the house flipping, right? Because I haven't been doing it for a few years. I think house flipping is something that can always be good, particularly if it's a one-off deal. You know, if you see something that could be a nice opportunity to buy and resell, why not? But in terms of a dedicated house flipping business, I would say it's probably gotten pretty competitive. The margins, from what I at least was seeing when I was doing it, were really getting squeezed. And all the house flippers that I know, and I know actually quite a few of them, have since started building ground up deals or going into bigger commercial type projects, because, you know, to run a house flipping business, it sounds like it would be simple, but even, you know, when I was doing it, to have a staff of 3, 4, 5, 6 people in an office, I mean, you're spending tons of money. And if you can't get the volume, and if you can't get the margins, I mean, you pretty much die on the vine trying to get your next deal. So I think inherently a lot of people have had to kind of move up the food chain a little bit from house flipping to maybe more development or ground up.
Yeah, I've actually seen some wholesalers that have brought deals to me, and they say, hey, I've got this house. It's 83% of future value. It's like, does that include rehab?
Yeah.
No, that rehab's extra. It's like,
yeah. So I don't know how to make money with that deal. You know, I mean, what do? You just buy it for fun and look at it and say, I flipped the house. I mean, I don't know how you make anything with that. It's hard.
Yeah. So what do you see as the future of your real estate investments?
Well, so me in particular, and with my partner, I mean, our vision's pretty simple, right? And I think that's kind of the best visions are simple. we want to build our construction business in terms of building similar type buildings to what we're doing in Koreatown for clients. So we want to go out and build 40-unit apartment buildings, 100-unit condo buildings, 50-unit whatevers. We want to build for clients, collect fees, collect income, right? Because we get paid to do that. And then on the other side of our business, we want to take that money and we want to put it into apartment buildings, either apartment buildings that we buy or apartment buildings that we build. So we'll have a side of our business, kind of the 9-to-5 hustle, if you will, that goes out and finds the clients and builds the properties. And then you've got, boom, where you put the money, and you've got our, maybe call it apartment management business that'll hopefully start paying us money every month and working even when we're not.
Excellent. Now, you said something very intriguing there about the best plans are simple. Tell me about your philosophy behind that.
Well, I just think that people have a tendency when they make plans, especially business plans. I mean, to me, business plans are kind of like resumes. I don't like reading resumes, and I really don't like reading or writing business plans. I think everybody should have a business plan, but I don't think it should be 50 pages long with a bunch of big words just to think that you're fancy or something. You know what I mean? Like, I really just believe that. And I think that sometimes when a mission statement or a vision or a plan is too big and too long and nobody's going to get behind it because they don't know what the hell it means to begin with. So I think having a simple vision will allow you to really execute, because you have to go into the trenches every day, no matter what you're doing. And you have to get all your people, all your guys and gals behind you, and everybody's got to march for that one mission, and they have to know what it is.
So what is your one mission right now?
Well, our mission is to build property. Our mission is to do a great job for our clients. And inherently, we're really measured by two metrics when we build for a client. A, did we stay on budget? And B, did we get it done on time? And that's really all our clients care about when it comes down to it. So there's subtleties in that, but our mission is to when we sign a contract with a client and we put our signature next to something and we make a promise, whether it's a handshake or a signature, that we're going to deliver a budget for a service and a product of an end result of a building, and we're going to get it done by X date, then damn it, we're going to stand behind that. Because if we don't, nobody's going to hire us. I mean, that's in the construction business. If you can't do what you say you're going to do, especially with time and budget, then you'll never get any more work.
Yeah, and you're dealing with millions of dollars that you have to forecast, so you've got to know what you're doing too. That's where you've got Ivano with you.
Oh yeah.
What was the biggest surprise in all the learning that you've had over the years?
Gee, I don't know. That's a good question. I guess it goes back to just getting the ass kicked. I mean, when I had my house flipping business and we had to shut things down, and it kind of came to a point where it wasn't working anymore. And I guess, I don't even know if it's a surprise as much as you just have to understand that sometimes you have to know when it's time to shift or move, and you can't just keep doing the same stuff over and over again. And I don't know if that's answering a question. Biggest surprise, I'm not really sure. There's been a lot.
Well, like, I know Ivano's been doing this for decades, and you've been in it for quite some time too. You seem to have shifted a lot, but as Ivano stayed always in construction. Do you see real estate as something that has to constantly shift, or can you really get something that stays steady for many years?
Well, I think you can stay steady, but I think it depends on what you're doing. Most real estate guys that I know that have been doing this for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, whether they're developers or builders or land guys, they have their model, but they understand that, in real estate, a cycle might be 7 years. So it might be time to buy office buildings. It's not right now, but it might be time to buy apartments. And then at some point, the values of things might come down, and it doesn't make sense to build anymore, because there's a little bit of a time period where you can buy something so inexpensively that you're buying below what they call replacement costs. So there's no reason to build from the ground up, right? So then building kind of shrinks, and then things get more expensive, and then you're going maybe into buying existing. So I think most real estate guys that I know that have been in it for a long time, yeah, they can kind of stay the course, but they have to know to be a little bit fluid with kind of how you're doing things, because the market's change, and there's never gonna, one method really doesn't just work in a straight line.
They all work in the right time.
Exactly. 100%.
So where do you see what's working in the market today?
Well, it's apartments, it's building. Everybody's doing apartments. A lot of people are doing condos. A big trend right now in LA is you're seeing these, they're like co-living, I guess, for lack of a better term. I call them like kind of co-living, dormitory. It's almost kind of like a cross between a hotel and apartment building or a dorm, where you have what would have been maybe a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment now will house 4 or 5 different people, and they have a common kitchen, and they've got floors of amenities almost like a hotel would have, and they're able to bring the prices per unit down, so it's attractive to people that want to rent, for example. And if somebody's on the go or they travel a lot, or millennials, everybody wants to eat out and go, when you can eat out, you can't really eat out right now too much. But that's a big trend right now in LA, which you didn't really see 5, 6, 7 years ago. That's kind of the big one.
Yeah, that's interesting. And do you see that staying steady? You said the market was looking pretty good for next year. What's the next shift that you see going to happen in the marketplace for product type?
I think apartments will be a big thing for a while. I think single families may continue to run up a little bit, but it really just depends. It's really hard to say. You've got, the problem is you've got all these retail buildings, all these office buildings that were previously occupied, and now they're not, right? And so the question is, what are those going to become? Are they going to start tearing those buildings down? Are they going to reposition them? Are you going to see people come in and take all of these old office buildings and old retail centers and turn them into apartment buildings, or turn them into, whatever else? I'm not sure. But I think it will probably be a while before you see any new construction in that space, just because of how hard everything's getting hit right now. Right.
Now, congratulations, by the way. You've got a new son in the past few months.
I do, Enzo. Yeah. And so far I haven't broken him. I have my hats off to my fiance, Morgan, because, she pretty much does everything, but I try to help when I can. But no, I couldn't be happier. He's a beautiful little baby boy, Vincenzo Mark LoCascio. And, what can I say? It's pretty rewarding being a dad.
Great. Now, how's that going to impact your ability to do a lot of real estate? Because you've been a go-go guy for a long time.
I have, and I have to tell you, even when I first started dating Morgan, it was hard for me to get used to coming home at night for a certain time for dinner. So I've had to learn to probably be a good boyfriend over a while, and she had to put up with me, and now we're fiancés. And I don't know how it will be impacted. Frankly, I think I'll probably work harder. I think my business will grow even that much more, because now I have a family to provide for. I'm motivated to see my son and hopefully kids, multiple soon. I want 5 kids. Maybe Morgan will agree to that. We'll see. But no, I think it'll be really cool to see the kids grow up in the business, and hopefully some of them want to work with dad when they get older. We'll see. But I'm excited about that.
That's excellent. That's fantastic. I recommend it to have kids.
Oh yeah, you've got 2 daughters.
Yeah. So we're coming to the end of our 30 minutes here in a couple of minutes. So what's a piece of advice that you would give to yourself when you were starting out? Based on your experience now, what would you tell your younger self?
I probably would have told my younger self to fail fast. And I kind of did to some degree, but I would tell myself, don't be a jack of all trade where you never slow down, you never learn anything. That's not what I'm saying. You have to take the time to be good at something. You have to throw yourself into certain things, but you can't get stale in one thing, especially when you're young, right? You have to go out there and you have to find yourself, not to be cliche, but you have to find yourself. You have to get experience. You have to meet people. You have to fail fast so that you can learn things and then get to where you're supposed to be. And I think, that's probably what I would have reinforced to myself.
Very good. Now, where you're supposed to be in 20 years, where are you supposed to be?
Hopefully the owner of the LA Lakers, but we'll see.
Yeah, the office building will be a little bit higher.
Yeah. I don't know if Jeannie Buss will be ready to sell then, and we'll see. I might have to buy some courtside tickets in the meantime for her to notice me.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add that I haven't asked you about that I should have?
Well, I mean, we didn't really go into too much detail of you and I working together. I just want to say that, you were a big part of my house flipping business and really, systemizing things at the time, because we were kind of working in a really crude fashion to how we were finding our properties, how we were financing our properties. And speaking of learning from somebody, I can't tell you how much I learned from you. I'm always learning from you. I'm the guy, you're the guy I call if I need to talk to someone. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, Greg, please, I'm sorry. I got to talk to you. So I appreciate that. But no, I think you've just always been one of these guys where, finance so well, loans, real estate investment and underwriting. And that was really a pivotal thing for me at the time. And, hopefully we'll be doing a lot more together in the future on that front. I think we will.
Well, great. I've learned a lot working with you as well. You gave me some opportunities to do some things, and we had some fun, didn't we?
Oh yeah, we're just getting started. Okay, so it's going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah, I'll have to figure out who all the basketball players are so I can name them when we sit on the sidelines there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, well, we're my clock says 6:31. We've got a minute over. So I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up.
Okay.
And we'll be doing this again next week. I've got some other experts that are lined up with a variety of skills. Most everybody's in real estate. That's my passion. I love real estate, and we all have to live somewhere. And so we'll figure out how we can all get there in style.